Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's good? Give it a couple minutes. Get people to get up in the building real quick before we get started. This Made Media Live. I'm your host, Big D. What's good to the chat? Flex on them, I see you. What's up? What's up? Let's see. Go live on IG right quick. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, get the notifications out. You feel me? Let me see. Give me 1 second, 1 second. Share this real quick. Here we go. Let's get started. Let's see. So today, what we was gonna do is hop on this Swamp Storiez, and we're gonna do a reaction to Swamp Storiez. So y'all can get up on y'all YouTube, type in Swamp Storiez. Make sure y'all subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody that been sending them cash apps too. Let's see. There we go. I was wondering what happened to that. All right. So let me share the screen real quick. This is for entertainment purposes only. I just seen this video a couple hours ago and thought it was interesting. So we gonna check it out. All right. Let's see. Check out this shit.
The $6 your way deal at Burger King is a triple win. Your choice of a bacon double cheeseburger or a rodeo double cheeseburger. Win. Plus fries? Win. And chicken fries? Win.
Welcome back to another episode of Swamp.
So once again, this is Swamp Storiez on YouTube. This is the Mickey Cobras, Chicago's Forgotten Side. We just doing a reaction. Swamp Storiez, don't strike me. Shout out to Swamp Storiez. Make sure y'all subscribe, run that shit up. Get back to it. Let's see who we got in the chat. Shout out to the chat. All right.
Swamp Story. For this episode, we head to Chicago to cover a forgotten topic. But before we get into it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. You can also follow the Instagram page as well. So let's get into it. In order for this video to make sense, let's head all the way back to the start. Since the very beginning, Chicago has been a tough blue-collar city. It grew from the railroad and industrial fields and eventually became America's fastest-growing city by 1900. Then in 1916, the Great Migration began in the Midwest. And for those of you who don't know, this is when millions of Southerners moved up north. Many families had enough of living in the troubled South and moved up to various cities up north. The biggest being Detroit, Gary, Milwaukee, and most importantly, Chicago. At the time, it was the most prosperous city up north, with all kinds of industrial jobs and business ventures. So the Southerners settled first in the only neighborhood that they were allowed to go, and that happened to be the south side of Chicago. At the time, it was an old Irish neighborhood that was falling apart, but with this new influx of ambitious residents, the south side was back to life. It was very middle class, and I won't act like it was anything more, but overall, life was pretty decent and certainly self-sufficient, and the only sort of crime that existed was the mobs, and they pretty much controlled the city's leadership. But that has nothing to do with the South Side, nor this video. And that takes us to 1945, which was a pivotal year in Chicago history. This is when Chicago's housing authority built brand new projects all over the city. From the Cabrini Greens to the Wentworth Gardens, new public housing took over the south side of Chicago. And despite the good intentions, this ended up being the worst decision for the city's future. I
had to pause it real quick. We watching Swamp Stories on YouTube. Make sure y'all subscribe. He got a lot of dope stories. Shout out to the chat, everybody in the building. Like, share, subscribe. Yeah.
Projects ended up being the centers for all kinds of problems. Why it happened like that, economists and historians will argue all day, but the bottom line is that after 1945, the South and West Side started to take a downward turn. And at this point, everyone knows about the mainstream rivalries in Chicago. But for whatever reason, one of the most important groups to ever form has never been covered. So let's get it started. The story begins with a man named James Cogwell. James grew up on the west side of Chicago and always wanted to band together with others in his community. He found that his community was vulnerable and they needed some sort of unity to show that they're fierce. So in 1954, he organized a group called the Egyptian Cobras. The name was chosen because the Egyptian cobra is the most dangerous snake in the world. Well, here is where people disagree. Some say that Cogwell started the Cobras on the west side, but many others say that it started in Fuller Park, specifically on the corner of 43rd and Princeton. Either way, the Cobras began spreading all over the city. And eventually, by 1959, half of the notorious Cabrini Greens projects joined the Cobras. In fact, by this time, there were 500 members spread throughout the different projects in the city. The Cobras had a bully mentality where they didn't let anyone get in their way. And of course, this didn't sit well with a lot of people in Chicago, specifically the Black Disciples, also known as the BDs. The BDs leader, David Barksdale, had a huge problem with the Cobras, and everything took a left turn in 1960. At the time, most of the problems were at the hands of a 16-year-old named Henry Ponder, also known as Johnny Ringo. Despite his age, he was appointed to lead the Cobras against the BDs. This is because he was truly fearless and definitely feared in Chicago. So for the next 2 years, the BDs and Cobras were in a major rivalry. June 12, 1962. This is the date where Chicago police figured everything out. So here's the context. Just a month prior, 2 Cobras had gone down for a wild spree of events. And basically, Chicago police gave them a deal. All the charges would be dropped if they told them who the leader of the Cobras was and what he had done. So the 2 members gave up Johnny Ringo on June 12th and the rest was history. He ended up getting life, but this was not the end for the Cobras. At this time, they were extremely unorganized and wild in their ways. Money wasn't in the picture. They literally only cared about the BDs. However, this reputation would begin to change after Johnny Ringo went down. After him, a new leader stepped up to the plate and had a completely different vision. That would be a young man named Henry Cogwell, also known as Mickey, and he happened to be the cousin of the supposed founder James Cogwell, but this had nothing to do with his leadership. In fact, by this time, James Cogwell was out of the life, and and his West Side area was no longer Cobras. Well, what made Mickey different is that he was a smooth operator. He was all about getting money and using his charisma to get his way. Mickey was inspired by the Italians and the way they handled business, so that's who he emulated. He also wanted the Cobras to have a specific place that they control, and there was no better place to choose than the brand new Robert Taylor Homes. This was Chicago's last project to be completed in 1962, and that meant that it was up for grabs. So as soon as it opened up for leasing, Mickey and hundreds of Cobras moved in. This is where the Cobras established their home base, but unfortunately this did make them easy to find. September 7th, 1968. 8 p.m. Mickey Cogwell's younger brother Jerome is leaving the Robert Taylor Homes, and as he walks down State Street, a man is right there. Bam. This incident infuriated Mickey and changed his life forever. However, this wouldn't be the only major news of the weekend. Just the
1 second. This is YouTube, Swamp Stories. Shout out to Swamp Stories. Make sure y'all subscribe. We just doing reaction to the Mickey Cobras, the Chicago's Forgotten Side. He dropped this earlier today. I thought it was a dope little documentary. So we doing a reaction off that. Don't strike my page. Shout out to Swamp Stories. You know what it is. Let me see. All right.
The next day, a man named Leroy Hairston passed away, and rumors say that it was done by the same BD who was responsible.
I think we're unique because now, as you can see, we are in a studio atmosphere. We're not in a remote atmosphere anymore. But then how do we kind of...
Shout out to the chat.
Responsible for Jerome Cogwell. However, Leroy Hairston wasn't a Cobra. Instead, he was the younger brother of Jeff Ford, who led the Black Pea Stones. So because of this shared experience, Mickey Cogwell and Jeff Ford decided to meet up. They had both just lost their younger brother to the same people. And in order to show his support, Jeff Ford did something incredible. Jeff Ford organized a march down State Street to rename it after Jerome Cogwell. It didn't end up happening, but the gesture meant the world to Mickey Cogwell. So after this, Mickey and Jeff Ford became the best of friends. So much so that the Cobras and Black Pea Stones united as one, known as the Cobra Stones. Together, they took on the persona of community activists and even got involved in Chicago's politics. So soon after, Jeff Ford received government funds to start programs for the youth in the south side of Chicago. All of this continued for quite some time until they hit a bump in the road. After a 1972 investigation, it was found that Jeff Ford was using the government money to fund his own lifestyle. So because of this, he received a 4-year sentence in 1972, and he appointed Mickey Cogwell to lead the Cobra Stones. Over the next 4 years, Mickey led the Cobra Stones to prosperous times, to say the least. Well, during this time, Jeff Ford changed his name to Abdul Malik Kabad and began practicing a new faith. When Jeff Ford was released, he wanted to change the Cobra Stones to El Ruckin and wanted all the members to follow his new lifestyle and beliefs. However, this didn't go over well with Mickey. He wasn't necessarily opposed to anything that Jeff believed. He just didn't want to force it on himself or anyone else in the Cobra Stones. Here is where everything fell apart. Mickey got comfortable in his leadership position, and Jeff Ford wanted to make it clear that that was only temporary. Just because you led the Cobra Stones while I was gone does not make you my equal. February 25th, 1977. 3:45 a.m. Mickey Cogwell gets dropped off at his Chicago home, but right there is a man in black. This was a huge deal. Remember that Mickey was loved by everyone, probably the most charismatic person in the south side of Chicago. Not to mention that he was also keeping a lot of people's pockets full as well. So after this incident, everyone pointed their fingers at Jeff Ford, and this is how it played out. The Cobras and Black Pea Stones split back into their original forms, but now they became known as the Mickey Cobras to commemorate the leader that they loved dearly. They adopted.
Once again, this is Swamp Stories. So I had to keep cutting in, but YouTube, I don't want them tripping. This is the Mickey Cobra, Chicago's Forgotten Side. Swamp Stories. Make sure y'all subscribe to them. Shout out to the chat. This is Made Media Live. I'm your host, Big D. Y'all, everybody out there in Chicago, let me know in the chat, man. Is this story real? Is he on point? Or, is this shit cap, man? You feel me? Let me know.
adopted the color green and used the snake as their logo. In Chicago, they became known as simply MCs. So if you saw someone in green with MC or a snake on their jacket, you best believe that they were a Mickey Cobra. Well, the Cobra Stones breakup made the late 70s and 1980s extremely complicated. That's because both the Black P Stones and Mickey Cobras were still rivals with the BDs, but now they also had to watch out for each other. And this dynamic made the south side of Chicago completely out of control, especially in the biggest projects, the Robert Taylor homes, Dearborn homes, and Cabrini Greens. The Mickey Cobras had these projects on lock, and the BDs and L. Ruckins were not having it. In fact, in 1985, Jeff Ford wanted to take a couple of Cobra areas, the first being 54th and Bishop in the back of the Yards neighborhood. And to do this, he claimed the life of their local leader named Herman Jackson, also known as Moose. Well, the back and forth continued until L. Ruckin took a major blow. November 6, 1990, 24 L. Ruckin members went down for a giant RICO case, and they found them responsible for all of this.
Humor.
So this essentially took down L. Ruckin, and Jeff Fort was already doing life for another case. So that was the downfall of L. Ruckin, but the Mickey Cobras had their issues as well. Except for them, it was for a different reason. In 1994, the city of Chicago announced the demolition of the Cabrini Greens and Robert Taylor homes. Now mind you, this isn't some little demolition. The Robert Taylor homes had 27,000 residents, and the Cabrini Greens had 15,000 residents. Well, during the next few years, the residents cleared out and the Cobras were less prevalent than they used to be. However, this wouldn't be the end of their legacy. The residents of the projects were given housing vouchers to live in different areas for the same rent. The majority stayed on the south side or moved to the west, but nearly half left Chicago entirely. A lot of people went to Harvey, Chicago Heights, Gary, Indiana, and Oak Lawn, and during this time they aligned themselves with the People Nation. This meant that their differences with the Black Stones were set aside, especially after L. Ruckin was terminated. So the 2000s were transformative for the Cobras. They became all about the money, and they were spread out rather than concentrated in the projects. And unlike the old days, you won't see them wearing collars or snakes. Instead, they have smaller cliques that fall under the Mickey Cobra umbrella. So let me break down the new generation. The Mickey Cobra's biggest section is located on 61st and Cottage Grove on the south side. They go by the name 800 Young Money, also known as 800 YM or Mickey City. And these guys are known as some of the wildest in Chicago, and that's saying a lot, trust me. Well, Mickey City turned into 800 Young Money around 2009, and this is the time where they formed their first two rivals. First, you have Dro City, which is an area between 62nd and 65th, right up the street from 800. Dro City happens to be BD's, so back in the day, this same rivalry existed under different names. Then 800's next rival is Jaro City, located on 62nd and Vernon, just up the street as well. These guys are a set of GDs that are dedicated to a former member named Jarvis, also known as Jaro. So essentially, 800 is rivals with BDs and GDs at the same time, making them one of the most hated in Chicago. However, they did have one ally, and seriously, it's only one. These guys are also Mickey Cobras, and they're located on 51st and St. Lawrence. So together, both Young Money Mickey Cobras rolled together against everyone in Chicago. And unfortunately, things would get serious in 2011. At this time, 800 was led by a top member named Roselle Phillips, also known as 800 Diddy. February 25th, 2011, 9:30 p.m. 800 Diddy is in his car on 67th and Cottage Grove, and that's when a car pulls up beside him. Bam. This was the very first loss for 800, but unfortunately another would come 2 months later, March 25th, 2012. An old Mickey Cobra named Charles Davis Jr. is hanging out with three 800.
This is crafting the moment that changes everything.
Shout out to the chat. This is May Media
This
Live.
is all your
host
teams
Big
working
D.
as one.
You watching
This is the
Swamp
system.
Stories. The Mickey
Three
Cobras
800
Chicago.
members in a Woodlawn apartment. Allegedly, an argument starts over a jacket and Charles takes it to another level. Terry was known as 800 Old Head, and here is the saddest part. It was revealed that Charles had been recently released for the 1989 passing of Harvey Austin, and when he got out, Terry was helping him get on his feet. Terry's mom even said that she fed Charles on many nights. But sadly, this is Chicago, where anything can happen no matter the time or for what reason. And that takes us to September 9th, 2013, 6 a.m. 800 finds a BD named Alan Ross, also known as Lil Fish, outside of his apartment. This was their first time doing something of this nature, but unfortunately it wouldn't be their last. September 6, 2015. For whatever reason, Gyro City decides to host a party right in the middle of 800's neighborhood. I guess they want to show how little they fear 800. 800 pulls up to the party. Bang. This moment would end up changing everything for the Mickey Cobras. 051 happened to be at the party, and they were furious about what 800 had done. So they decided to turn against 800, leaving them alone against the whole south side of Chicago. So today, the Mickey Cobras are against each other, and it's not pretty. Everything got elevated when 051 joined together with 800's rivals called TYMB. The music surrounding this situation does pretty big numbers, so let's end on some positivity. 800YM is represented by 800 Lil Fats, 800 Lil Twin, and Boss Smooth. And the music scene came to a peak on November 29th, 2018, when Boss Smooth released a 051 diss track. But unfortunately, this would catch up to him. October 11th, 2020. Boss Smooth pulls over to get gas on 8600 State Street, and unfortunately, the wrong person spots him. This was a major loss for 800, and because of how many rivals they have, no one seems to know who is responsible. But despite all the chaos, the south side of Chicago is really starting to change. Today, if you drive around, you'll see all kinds of new apartments and renovated houses. So if anyone from Chicago knows what that's all about, let me know in the comments. Well, that's gonna do it for this episode of Swamp Stories. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe.
Take the share screen off. So that was Swamp Stories, the Mickey Cobra story. Shout out to everybody that's viewing this motherfucker. I guess ain't no Chicago people on here. Y'all ain't got nothing to say. Shit, was the story valid? Did he get everything right? You know what I mean? Let me know in the comments, man. I thought it was pretty cool, you know. You hear mostly, well, in the mainstream now, it's about the GDs and the BDs. So it is other gangs besides the GDs and BDs. You know, there's a whole lot of other gangs. That's one of them. R.I.P. Melly. And I know everybody heard about him, the grave digger. But yeah. Make sure y'all hit that like, share, subscribe. It's made me alive, man. Y'all up late with me. Let's see what else we can get into. Let me see. Since this we'll make this a motherfucking we could watch another Swamp Stories. Let me see. I'm gonna share the screen one more time. All right. All this old bullshit going on. We could let me see. Hope everybody having a good night. You know. What y'all want to see, huh? What y'all want to see? Y'all want to see Rolling 60s versus Savannah? Yeah, that's since Quando Rondo been up in the news, we could watch that. Rolling 60s Savannah. We could see what they're talking about. Swamp Stories. Subscribe.
Perfect getaways come in many forms.
From Swamp
exploring
Stories, just doing a reaction.
new cities to getting lost in the great
Couple of
outdoors.
videos. Don't strike my page.
Welcome back to another episode of Swamp Stories. For this episode, we head down to the wildest place that you've never heard of. But before we get into it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. You can also follow the Instagram page as well. So let's get into it. When most people think of Georgia, Atlanta is the only place that comes to mind. But realistically, Atlanta is not in Georgia. Okay, obviously it's located in Georgia, but it's so different than the rest of the state that it's really its own thing. While Atlanta is thriving, fast-paced in a business empire, the rest of Georgia is not so much. Literally anything outside of the Atlanta circle is country, poor, and lacking in economic development. And there's no city that personifies that more than Savannah, Georgia. The city is located all the way on the east end of the state, right next to the ocean. But it's definitely not a beach paradise, so in order for it to make sense, let's dive into the history. During the 1900s to 1920s, Savannah was a successful industrial city, but since then it has declined in manufacturing and somehow tourism is the main source of employment. I definitely had to double check that after I read it. Like, what? Who would spend their hard-earned money to visit Savannah, Georgia? Ew. Well, apparently every year thousands of people come to see the Spanish architecture. Look, I know people have different interests, but how bored do you have to be to go travel to see some architecture? But in all seriousness, Savannah is kind of a decent place. It's somewhere in between the awfulness of Detroit or San Bernardino and the beauty of Seattle and San Diego. But it's definitely not a place that you want to mess around in. The average income in Savannah is only $24,000 a year. That wouldn't even cover your gas money in California. I'm just kidding, but if the average person makes $24,000 a year, then you can be certain that the city has some major issues. The country town of 140,000 residents has a very dark side. Neighborhoods that breed some of the most dangerous people that you will ever come across. This is the real deal. But before we get into it, let me run the intro. Savannah is very similar to many southern cities in the way that the streets work. Unlike the west or east coast, the vast majority of residents are below the poverty line. So the concept of one area being the hood and another being wealthy is something that's not very common. Pretty much everywhere you go has the same things going on. I say that to say that territory is not very important. There's no history of a certain hood having issues with another. For example, maybe someone gets into an argument at school with another person. Then boom, all of a sudden they're both rivals. They could be from the same neighborhood, it doesn't matter. In the South, pretty much everyone is ready for action, mostly because it's legal to own and walk around with a band machine. And all of this makes for a wild, unpredictable, and chaotic environment where friends turn enemies and the smallest disagreements turn into major beef. And none of that is exemplified more than this first story. Let me introduce you to a man named Jason Johnson, also known as Camouflage. He grew up in the Westlake Projects, one of the worst neighborhoods in all of Georgia. But fortunately, by the age of 16, he started to create a buzz down south. His first independent album actually sold 50,000 copies in 2001. And I know that it...
Peter Camouflage. I remember him back in the day. This is Swamp Stories. We watching Rolling 60s Cribs versus Savannah. Quando Rondo's wild story. Make sure y'all subscribe to Swamp Stories. This is Made Media Live. I'm your host, Big D. We just doing a reaction. Yeah. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody viewing. Shout out to everybody that's going to watch it after. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe.
It may not sound like much, but that's insane for a first album. It caught the attention of Lil Boosie and Birdman, who he ended up getting close with. And in 2002, he released a hit song called Cut Friends, and this is when he started to blow. He was officially the first rapper to ever put on for Savannah, Georgia. But just as he was ready to fulfill his role, the streets of Savannah would do what they do. May 19th, 2003, Camouflage goes to the Pure Pain Studios on 37th Street, and after a night of recording, he walks outside the studio and heads to his car. But right there is a man in black. Directly after the incident, Savannah's police chief Willie Levette came out and made some interesting statements. He pointed out that this could be retribution for incidents that camouflage was potentially involved in. But after a small investigation, none of that was true. Instead, rumors came out that a girl that he was dealing with had a jealous ex-boyfriend. And whether that exact story is true or not, it's the nature of the streets of Savannah. Also, remember the name of the police chief, because that will be important down the line. But anyways, after the passing of camouflage, the city had a major drought in music. No one notable would come out of the region.
COVID-19. Some people get it, and some people can get it bad. And for those who do get it bad, it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes,
region for a long time. And that takes me to a young man named Taekwon Bowman. Born in 1999, Taekwon had a rough start in the Westlake projects. His household was chaotic with his parents, and it ended up involving CPS. When a young Taekwon received a serious burn on his skin, they decided that enough was enough. So Taekwon was adopted by his great aunt in the Fred Wessel apartments. However, her living conditions were not much better, and the neighborhood was troubled as well. So after this, he bounced around the city in different foster care homes. This led to a sense of loneliness and abandonment that a child can never get back. And because of this, he became out of control. And it all started at 11 years old. One night at his aunt's house would change his life forever. He got into a scuffle with his cousin and ended up hurting him pretty badly. So his aunt called the police on him and he got 7 days in juvenile. After this introduction to the system, he kept getting in trouble over and over again. At the age of 13, he cut off his ankle monitor and began hitting houses. He consistently did this for a couple of years and was able to scrap together enough money to survive on his own. He spent many nights alone by himself trying to find a couch to crash on. His parents were nowhere to be found and he felt unsure about staying with his great aunt. And just like anyone without a good home, the streets became his first family. And for him,
yeah, police got somebody out there. Yeah, this is Made Media Live. I'm your host, Big D. We watching Swamp Stories, doing a quick reaction. Make sure y'all subscribe to Swamp Stories. Shout out to him. We got a dope page, a lot of dope videos. You know, we just watched the Mickey Cobras.
it wasn't a specific neighborhood or block. In order for this to make sense, let's head to 2010. During this time, some of LA's biggest street ballers decided to do business and move out to Georgia. And the majority of them just so happened to be rolling 60s. And over time, as more and more LA guys moved to Georgia, they started to bring their colors with them. The first area to start repping 60s were the south side of Atlanta, technically known as Clayton County or Clayco. And they have steadily grown to thousands of members throughout the area. In fact, many of Atlanta's famous rappers are known to be a part of the 60s. Anyways, through business dealings, the rolling 60s spread to Savannah as well. In fact, they spread to the west and south side areas, both of which Taekwon lived in. And by this time, Taekwon was ready to join the new group and fully immerse himself in the streets. And for him, it all started in 2014 while he was locked up with a fellow teenager named Quafy Murray. During this time, they became best friends and had plans to take over Savannah together. But right after they got out, Taekwon was caught with a bam machine and was sent right back. And here is where tragedy hits. April 25th, 2014. Quafy wakes up and decides that he wants to run inside his friend's house and take a tool that he had just purchased. Wow, Quafy Murphy, what a good friend to have. So Quafy runs inside his house and takes what he wants. And when his friend comes home, he realizes what's missing. He knows that something fishy is going on. So he contacts his friends and lets them know what happened. And listen to this, Quafy is brutally honest and says, yeah, it was me who took it. So instantly the friends are on a hunt to go find Quafy and get it back. So the next day, Quafy finds someone who wants to purchase it. However, he knows that there could always be something sketchy going on. So he contacts an older guy from the neighborhood named Alan Moore to roll with him. On the morning of April 26th, they all meet up in Alan Moore's driveway on 3800 Bull Street. The buyer's name is Norman Kuntz Jr., but more commonly known as Juki. And I don't think that he was there to purchase anything. Right. Juki ended up getting life, but that did nothing for Taekwon's peace of mind. In fact, it devastated him and only made his heart colder. So when he got out, he knew that he needed a tool. However, shortly after, he was caught with it and sent right back to juvenile for another 2 years. I don't know, let me not judge. Maybe the police officers are way better out there, but I've never seen anyone get caught this many times. Regardless, the 2 years changed him for the better and he found a new identity. Quando Rondo was the new name and music was the new career. So literally the day he got out, he recorded freestyles while banging on his car. They went absolutely viral on Instagram and it caught the attention of Atlanta rapper Lil Baby. And this guy just so happened to be connected to Quando through the Rolling 60s. So
Oh no. So did I miss something? Is Lil Baby a Rolling 60s? I know he a Crip. Well, I heard he a Crip. I don't know if he a Crip. You know, y'all can let me know in the chat. But yeah, I don't know because I know whatever Lil Baby represent was a 4PF. Anybody know what that mean? I don't know what that mean. You know, I'm watching this shit. I'm learning right along with y'all. But shout out to Lil Baby, Quando, Rondo. I ain't shouting out no Quando, Rondo. Nigga, you want to drop your flag, you need to drop it the right way. Go get your put off, man. Go get your put off, nigga.
So in January of 2018, they released a hit song called I Remember, and this was the start of a huge mainstream career for Quando. However, many people didn't know about what was going on back home in the streets of Savannah. The Rolling 60s were taking over the streets in the worst way possible, and it all peaked in 2018. By this time, they had expanded to over 100 members and did not have any care for the well-being of their city. And starting in June of 2018, they went on possibly the most reckless spree in Georgia history. Let me introduce you to a man named Shantre Grant, also known as Puff. This guy has been a community activist for a long time, preaching peace, unity, and economic development. And to spread his message, he started a group called the Bullhorn Crew. And their mission was to go around Savannah, talk to the youth, and set them on a productive path. And on the side, Shantre also owned a catering business as well as being a DJ on weekend nights. Truly a great representative for Savannah. But unfortunately, the Rolling 60s do not care who you are, and they will use whatever tactics they can to get you. This time, they used a woman named Nalante Grant, and here's how it went. June 15th, 2018. Shantre goes to a local casino and wins a whole bunch of money. And of course, he happened to be with Nalante Grant the whole night, who he had just met. So after his lucky night, Nalante starts plotting.
Commercial. My bad, y'all. The Swamp Stories. Made Media Live. I'm your host,
She
Big D.
contacts Rolling 60s member Dante Dunham
It's a
to
reaction.
inform him of who she's with. She mentions that he has a lot of winnings. So after some sweet talking, he supposedly mentions to her where he lives.
No. Okay, let me stop playing with y'all.
And that's all it takes. She shares the information with Dante and he heads out to the address. And there he waits for Shantre to get home. Unfortunately, this would not end well for him. This incident completely shocked the community because Puff was known as the kindest man ever. He was the type to give the shirt off his back to someone less fortunate. This just goes to show how bad the Rolling 60s truly are. And sadly, the money-hungry crew was not done yet. The next month would be even worse. The 60s got desperate and started seeking out houses to hit. And that takes us to July 23rd, 2018. The Rolling 60s Cordell Richardson finds a house on Waltz Drive that he thinks is unoccupied. However, inside is a 63-year-old grandpa named Eric Cooley. Cordell would drive away and assume that he would never get caught. And for the meantime, that was true. 2 days later, apparently Dante Dunham ran out of Shantre's winnings, so he goes looking for money. July 25th, 2018. He drives out to East Bolton Street and finds a house that he thinks is unoccupied. However, in the kitchen is a 26-year-old named Robert Lee Jr. At this point, the Rolling 60s need to be stopped. And just when you thought that the summer couldn't get worse, one last incident would take place. August 5th, 2018. The Rolling 60s, Javon Williams gets the drop on arrival from a girl they both know. So he waits for the night until 19-year-old Jernard Burton pulls up to the 900 block of Carter Street. Bang. All of this took place within 3 months. 5 people in 3 months in the small city of Savannah, Georgia. Well, it was only a matter of time before this reckless crew would be fully investigated. Savannah police tracked the phone of Nalante Grant and found that she had shared her location with Dante Dunham. From there, they searched his phone and found the rest of the information they needed. And because of this, they also tied Dunham to the loss of our Darren Jefferson in 2013. February 1st, 2019. Operation Third Time's the Charm. And why did they call it that? Well, this was their third attempt on dismantling the Rolling 60s. And this one was successful with 6 life sentences and 4 other terms as well. For a small city like Savannah, this was a major win for the DA and police department. Somehow, Quando Rondo missed catching any implications in this whole takedown. And honestly, nobody knew about his friends back home. In fact, Quando's career took off alongside NBA YoungBoy, and for that reason, many people thought that he was from Baton Rouge. That's how little was known about Savannah, Georgia, but all of that would change in 2020. This is when Quando Rondo and YoungBoy began exchanging words online with King Von. And for those who don't know, this guy was known as Chicago's most feared man. So the internet went back and forth between the Savannah Rolling 60s and Chicago's O Block. And it got to the point where King Von would even threaten to put hands on Quando Rondo. Little did he know the Savannah Rolling 60s are not people you want to mess with. And here is where the internet erupted. You know, because I guess if you're from Chicago, then you have to be dangerous. And at the same time, everyone was downplaying the country boys of East Georgia. That takes us to November 6, 2020. At this time, King Von, Lil Durk, and the whole OTF are living in Atlanta. And on the night of November 6th, they get word of Quando Rondo being at a local club. Most of the OTF guys leave it alone, but King Von is all about his business. So he gets up in the middle of the night and heads down to the location. He waits for Quando Rondo to leave the club. So Quando walks to the parking lot, and right there is King Von. King Von completely manhandles him like
and that nigga 2-piece with a biscuit, gravy, nigga side order, all that. Nigga shot, man, RP King Von. Beat that nigga ass.
child. Quando's right-hand man, Lil Tim, notices what's happening and sprints over to help. And he decides to take it to a whole nother level. Bang. This incident truly showed one thing to the world. It's not about where you're from, it's about how you come. Whoever has the upper hand in any situation will most likely win. So you can play all the games about which city is the hardest, but in all honesty, none of that matters. King Von was feared because of everything he did in Chicago, but in Georgia, none of that matters. They do not care about your city. Plain and simple. So for anyone who tries to build their credibility in their city, just know that it's an illusion and it only matters in your city. Once you leave or the people in your city leave, you're left with zero accomplishments and no one cares about your tough guy past. Well, after this, the internet trolls have been telling Dirk to slide for Vaughn. But let's be honest, all of that is unrealistic given his status. But that being said, you need to stop acting tough in your songs if your actions don't back it up. Because at that point, you're spreading a false image to the youth that you're not willing to pay the consequences for. Well, since then, Quando Rondo has actually been targeted multiple times. Thankfully, he's been fine each time. The only thing that's weird to me is that he's been dating a high schooler. Like, bro, what are you doing? You're rich. Regardless, he's been making a comeback in music, dropping hit songs like 6-0 Business. On the other hand, Lil Tim is on house arrest while fighting off his charges. Some say he was justified, but others say that he was wrong for what he did. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. But to finish up the video, I have to include this wild story about Savannah. So if you remember from earlier in the video, there was a man named Willie Levant. Well, for decades, he was the police chief of Savannah. He was known for his harsh stances against crime and wanting to clean up the streets. All of that is commendable, but his reputation would take a major blow in 2014. After a federal investigation, it came out that he received $70,000 in bribes to turn his back on some activities going on. So After all, he received 7 years in prison. But here's the thing, while he was in prison, he received a $130,000 a year pension. Yes, while he was in there, he was paid $910,000 of tax money. And to this day, he still gets paid. How this is possible, I don't know, but Savannah, Georgia is a wild place. But that's gonna do it for this episode of Swamp Stories. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Peace!
Hey, that was Swamp Stories.
Welcome back to another episode of Swamp Stories. For this episode, we head down to the wild.
That was Swamp Stories, Rolling 60s versus Savannah, Quando, Rondo's Wild Story. This made Media Live. I'm your host, Big D. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate everybody tapping in. Shout out to everybody that sent the cash app. Shout out to... Oh, yeah. So, yeah, back on this Rolling 60s and Quando thing. Back to the Rolling 60s Quando thing. Yeah, who's siding with Quando in this whole situation? What y'all think gonna happen with this case? You think with Lil Tim case, you think he gonna beat it or what? Let me know. Let me know. Eastside Jeffrey. What's good with it? But yeah. Nah, he trying to drop the flag. And like, you know, we in Cali, man. I'm in the Bay Area, but I know about the gang politics and all that. I've been around plenty of them niggas, locked up with them. County, jail, prison, on the streets with these niggas, Bloods and Crips, both sides, you know what I'm saying? The put on and the put off is real. You can't pay your way off a put off. You know what I'm saying? You might could pay to get put on, you know, like, you know, I mean, I don't know how Big Draco, Soulja Boy, Tiger, Lil Wayne, all these niggas, you know, quite sure they ain't get put on. You know, the put on the traditional way, you know, I think they probably greased a couple pounds, you know what I'm saying? But yeah. So I'm definitely not feeling that. You know, if you want to step in some gangster shit, you know, you want to step in these shoes, nigga, you gotta follow the rules, man. I always get treated like everybody else. You know what I mean? Like every other motherfucking sucker out here or drop out. You know what I'm saying? If you was in the pen, you drop out, you going straight to PC. You in the streets, you drop out, you get ran off the block. You gotta go hang somewhere else. You can't be where you from, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's always in every city, it's a block where they got a whole bunch of motherfuckers that's, well, I don't know every city. I know out here they do. You know, out here it's called a TL. You know, we call that's like Muttville. Everybody from down there, you know what I'm saying? You get motherfuckers down there from the city, Oakland, Richmond, all that shit, Muttville, all these old mud ass niggas from the TLs. But yeah, what y'all think about that, man? Let me see. Yeah, shout out to the chat, man. We in the building. It's made Media Live, man. What y'all niggas on? All right, so while we on this thing, we could speak a little bit on this whole 600 Breezy situation, man. The 600 Breezy, man. I don't know. The internet, YouTube, and you know, the family of the victim, you know, this nigga looking very guilty. He's looking like shit. They gonna fuck around and be investigating him, you know what I'm saying? There's some very weird allegations. Like they saying that the victim, she died. You know, the young lady that took her life, she died. She was dead hella days, you know, before they found the body. You know, then now they saying that 600 Breezy had her phone and still got the phone, and like he probably that he's sending them messages or whatever. Some weird shit going on, man. It's hella sad, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully he ain't got nothing to do with this, you know. But you know how it goes, man. When somebody pass, you know, family be hurt. You know, they want to blame anybody and everybody. Not saying that, you know, they ain't got no valid points or whatever, but you know, rest in peace to her, man. Everything gonna work itself out. It's fucked up. It's hella fucked up. Yeah. Let me see. We 49 minutes in. Shout out to the chat up on this thing. Shit, today out here, man. Well, shit, Sacramento, it was motherfucking 111 degrees. 111 degrees. Motherfucker, man, that's hell hot. It's hell hot. Oh, also, while we on this thing, you know what I'm saying? A certain blogger want some attention. You know, he's like a little bitch. You know, always want attention. Always saying some weird shit. You know, sending messages and shit. Don't nobody think about this nigga. This the first time I had to block a nigga on Instagram. I block bitches all the time. You know what I'm saying? Bitches get crazy. You know, bitches do something out of pocket shit, you block them. But this the first time I had to block a fucking nigga on Instagram. Just because first of all, you called me 10 times in a row, 5:30 in the morning. So earlier today, this morning, right, I wake up to this bullshit. This what made me, like, I was trying to not block him, you know what I'm saying, just in case, you know, just in case his channel pick up traction, his dead ass channel, you know what I'm saying, in case it pick up traction, in case you do come to No Jumper like you was, you know, like you was capping, talking about you was, you know, when I holler at No Jumper niggas, it was like, nigga, you ain't on no motherfucking, you ain't coming out there, you ain't even got enough views, you know what I'm saying? But look, I'm gonna show y'all this because I don't want to make it seem like I'm a motherfucking internet bully. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm just bullying niggas. I don't fuck with nobody unless they fuck with me. You know, nobody think about that nigga. I don't follow him. I don't subscribe to his channel. I don't watch his shit. This nigga constantly in my DM sending me his lives and shit. I don't want to watch that. Well, watch your capping ass nigga. Until you pull up, nigga, until you are drop a low for Bodine, nigga. Ain't nobody trying to hear that shit, my nigga. You ducking phase, man. You know what I'm saying? You barking up the wrong tree over here, nigga. Cause like, nigga, boy, who beat your old ass, man. No, your ass look like a diabetic, look like you sick already. But yeah, here, I got this shit this morning. Let me blow this shit up for y'all. Now, who do that shit? Like, you just texting me like some old weird ass shit, like, knowing damn well in real life, nigga, I see your ass, nigga, your ass gonna run, nigga. You gonna run, nigga. Like, get the fuck up out of here, nigga. You don't play that shit. We ain't with all that woofing shit, all that little Fendi boy activity shit you be doing, man. But cut that shit out, my nigga. Cut that shit out, nigga. Cut that shit out, nigga. Drop that low for Bodine, nigga. You know what I'm saying? He sent me a picture. Let me show you the picture that he sent me, because he capping for y'all. He capping for all the niggas that follow his old weird ass, right? He capping for y'all, and then he keep on like he gonna send me a little post talking about me and bro on our way to No Jumper and all this old weird shit. Like, shut up, nigga. Them niggas ain't fucking with you, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit crazy. What niggas will do for clout. You know, you sitting up there See, I had to block. See, okay. The post unavailable, so he liked to send messages and delete shit. I had to block his ass. Had to block the weirdo. Zesty DVD. You feel me? He over there. He needed just him and Hassan Campbell just needed to link up. You know what I'm saying? And just do a podcast together. They both weird as fuck. Call them the Rainbow Twins. Shout out to Eastside Jeffrey Manor. Shout out to everybody in the building. This made media live. Zesty DVD, you a bitch ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, beat the skin off your little punk ass nigga. Like, stop playing, nigga. Knock them glasses off your old ass nigga. Better stop playing with a real nigga, bitch. Bitch ass nigga. Break your fucking fingers, nigga. Ever throw some gang sign to me, nigga. Fuck wrong with you, nigga. Nigga, straight pussy. Pussy ass nigga on the internet. Zesty DVD. Let me share the screen though. Let's see what else we could watch real quick, man. Let's see. That nigga, yeah, that nigga 600 breezy. Shit, that shit crazy. Let's see what else we could watch on this. Hold on, let's see. Could lighten up the mood. So y'all niggas. We could look at some Sacramento gang archives. Okay. Since everybody be like, you always talking about Chicago. Well, shit, they hot. Nigga, they hot. Them niggas, they doing all the views. Shit, step it up, everybody else. All right. Let's see. We did the Greasy Neck tour. Let's see what this shit is right here. They want you to sign in for that. All right. This is Sacramento Gang Archives, Uzi Marcus, Part 2. Shout out to SGA. It's only reaction.
What's going on, YouTube? Sacramento Gang Archives here, and today we're here to talk about Uzi Marcus. This is a part 2, and we're here to talk about his case when the little boy had died, and his new case, and his whole entire career in general. Let's get it.
Shout out to the chat. Appreciate the chat. The cash app.
Money on my head, tell them can get it off. Nigga, quit telling them bitches that you finna off. Now that I'm winning, nigga.
Now, we all know my very first channel that got taken down. It got taken down for things associated with Briss. So I will not post anything in this video pertaining to Briss because this video and my channel can get taken down by Big Bird, aka Mac Jizzle. But out of all the videos and all the stuff that has been released about that situation, I'm pretty sure I don't have to recap. You guys know what the fuck happened with Briss, Uzi Marcus, and Jalise. This video is more to touch on dumb, dumber, and dumber fuck. And the little boy that was innocently killed. Also, his new Fed case. And why everyone hates him so fucking much.
I've been sliding to your section, nigga. Where the fuck you niggas at, nigga? Nigga, soft, nigga. Every time I see you, nigga, run that nigga, bitch, nigga. I'm on shit, nigga. 36 streets, so you know it's supposed to be 2K, nigga. Decided whoever decide to hang with them. Bring it straight to it, keep it real, you niggas play with it, I stay with it. Pop the nigga up, bro.
Now, a few days ago, I did a poll on Instagram, and I asked, why does everyone hate Ozzy Marcus so much? And guys, literally every single answer had basically something to do with him and the beef with Briss and the situation when that baby got killed. Okay, now, young Jorge was brutally and innocently killed when Dumber and Dumbest went on that drill. But that drill was basically get back because Jorge's father allegedly was associated with someone who shot Ozzy Marcus's friend in the hand. So that drill on July 4th was get back. These idiots pulled up in this Ford, allegedly, and dumped as many as 15 rounds in one car. And Jorge was hit, I want to say, 4 times. But they were aiming for the father. But young Jorge was in the back seat, asleep. But you guys have to remember that all three...
Pause this. Like I said, man, y'all motherfuckers out here in the streets, if y'all out here active, if you out here active, nigga, if you out here, you know you got problems, if you out here sliding on niggas and all that shit, man, don't put your kids up in your car. Don't put your female in your car. You should ride in your car by yourself, you know what I'm saying? Because you know you in some shit. And this to avoid shit like this, innocent people, children getting hit. How this little baby, little child get hit 4 motherfucking times? That's crazy. But yeah, we watching SGA, Ozzy Marcus Part 2, Sacramento Gang Archives on YouTube. Make sure y'all subscribe to him. Run this shit up. He got a lot of dope videos. This is just a reaction. Don't strike my shit, you know? Yeah.
3 got acquitted for that murder, guys. And Quintero, he was already a validated gang member. He was a fucking coon. We just don't talk about him at all. Now, I don't know who in the fuck this Eric Ramirez motherfucker is, but all 3 of them never snitched. And yes, Ozzy Marcus hit the stand. But, like I said in my Patreon video, he hit the stand crying, but he never once said, my Cody did this, and we never did this, and such and such. You never know if him getting on the stand crying was a tactic for the judge, or should I say the lawyer? You never know what the fuck was going on. Like I said, this isn't a Johnny Depp and Amber Heard situation. This was so fucking long ago, and they all got acquitted. Guys, we never know what gun or who really actually killed that baby. Only they know, and God knows, and the dad knows. I'm Sacramento Gang Archives, and I know a whole bunch of shit. And I know I've never seen any paperwork ever on Ozzy Marcus. And the only person, to my knowledge, that took the stand and told and snitched, quote unquote, was the father. But what the fuck was he supposed to do? That was his son. They got killed.
Nigga.
I had $1 for every time somebody says free.
You know what? So because that happened, you know, it did happen to a kid and all that, like, nigga, you still can't tell, nigga. You in this shit. You can't tell, nigga. Get back, man. Like, it's fucked up, but shit, that's what it is, man. When you sign up for this shit, nigga,
These
it's a dirty game.
Especially Briss. I'd be rich. But what the fuck? Isn't he fighting life for allegedly killing a 3-year-old girl that he didn't get acquitted for yet, unlike Ozzy Marcus? And do you guys know how hurt that little girl's mother is still to this day? Lord Farquaad himself, aka AR Trav, has an other side partner that was involved in a shooting when an innocent lady died at a barbershop. And man, everyone says free Pep. That's his goddamn name, Pep. And all y'all say free Pep. Now, there's no way in fuck I will ever justify some coonery that results in anybody dying, especially a 3-year-old boy. He got hit 4 times, and he was just sleeping because he was tired from enjoying his night on 4th of July. But in my opinion, I blame the father and the coons who killed them. There's no way in motherfuck that I would have my son on the infamous 6-8 block after being involved what he was involved in. And we know what he was involved in. And like I said, we can blame the father for having his son out there exposed like that and the killers. But guys, in all reality, why are you guys only pointing the finger at Ozzy Marcus? He got acquitted. We don't know what the fuck. As far as the Norte world, he is fucked.
Yeah.
Ozzy Marcus is from 36th Street.
And that's another thing. Because, you know, I heard about him and all that. Ozzy Marcus, like, I don't know. I got certain feelings about about black people claiming like Mexican gangs and vice versa. That's just personally me. Nortes and Mexican politics, they shit is way stricter than black folks shit is, on the streets and in the pen, man. And I don't think we should mix in with their politics, you know what I'm saying? Because once you in the pen, like I seen that it was a white boy, when I'm out there in Old Folsom, it was a white boy, from Sacramento. He was claiming a certain set out there, right? I ain't gonna put that set out there. He was claiming a certain set. So when he come in the pen, he try to politic with the black people. I mean, with the, with us, not with us, because I ain't no blood, but, with his folks, he try to politic with them, right? Like they was like, yeah, you can rock with us, you protect it, but them white people, I mean, the white people ain't honoring that shit. So as soon as they caught that white boy by himself, they beat the brakes off him, and then the whole yard went up. But nigga, we went up because we up here fighting over him. So then after it went up, niggas started getting on them niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck we doing? We didn't know what we was doing. You feel me? We see our people fighting, we gotta get into it though. But yeah, back to this.
And Franklin. Everyone knows that is considered Frank Loan. We all know he was a Norte before he switched to fucking Zilla. If he would have stayed a Norte, he probably would have gotten stabbed in prison. Think about it.
For sure.
That quote-unquote drill, a baby died, and they don't play that shit. And
sure.
It was red on red, which is Norte on Norte, and they definitely don't play that shit. So why he flipped? I mean, we can take educated guesses, but in all reality, we don't know why he flipped. We just know that motherfucker went from being a Norte to Hell Gang Mazi Zilla. And you guys hate him so much for the situation with him and Mr. Tricky, but you guys have to remember that they were sworn enemies, just like 64th and 63rd. And I talk more about it on my Patreon. What else was he supposed to do after Mr. Tricky died? What if Ozzy Marcus had passed away in the same fashion, in the same form that Mr. Tricky did? Would you guys hate Mr. Tricky just as much? You see what I'm saying?
I know niggas would be laughing at me if it was me. You hear me? They'd be laughing at me. Niggas be wicked if it was me.
I understand that Mr. Tricky had a lot of fans, and he was the shit, and he passed away in the fashion that he did, and Ozzy Marcus dissed the fuck out of him on some corny shit.
Yeah, man, we celebrate, man. All the niggas here today for their kids, man. Live it up, man, because I could be going any day, man. Any day, man.
Tonight, tomorrow.
The crazy thing is this.
In my head, because at the end of the day, I'm just a young nigga trying to make it out the hood.
For sure.
So you got to think about it like this. Anything you end up in, that's a mishap. Everybody else don't think of it like that. It's a whole different type of forces on the side, different forces on the other end, motherfuckers who don't like you before this shit happened.
In my opinion, besides that situation with the 3-year-old boy that he got acquitted for, Ozzy Marcus definitely has a body, in my opinion. And I have my fucking reasons. And CML affiliates, let's not bullshit. Ozzy Marcus is not one of y'all ops that y'all see and y'all give a pass to. Y'all either know what the fuck time it is, or y'all gonna get the fuck out of there. Now tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm fucking.
My bad. I think Ozzy Marcus right now, he just got picked up for another gun charge. You know what I'm saying? I think that was like last week or a week before that. But I know he for sure got bumped with another gun charge, and I think the feds picked it up. Free, I don't know. I guess free Ozzy Marcus. Yeah, we keep playing this shit.
Fucking lying. Now, I did not make this video for the sake of Ozzy Marcus' career, because I actually don't agree of how he handled the situation after Briss passed. I'm making this video for the sake of Sacramento's history. Also, I want to figure out why in the fuck does this motherfucker not have a bottom grill yet for that catastrophe of, what the fuck type of teeth set is that? That motherfucker's teeth is throwing up hell gangs. I don't know who in the fuck's teeth is worse out of him and EBK Juby Juve, but imagine if someone had his tops with Ozzy Marcus bottoms. Fuck!
Shout out to SGA. This nigga funny as fuck. Make sure y'all subscribe to Sacramento Gang Archives on YouTube. We doing reaction. This Uzi Marcus Part 2. You know, I appreciate everybody in the building. This Made Media Live. I'm your host, Big D.
Well, since you guys hate Uzi Marcus so much, you guys won't have to deal with him for a while because he is fine. He got caught with a Ruger 5.7 in Roseville. That is a subdivision, fucking suburb of Sacramento. And he had a 30 in it. And the feds picked it up. And I don't know if he's fighting 5 years or if he got sentenced to 5 years. But either way, we won't be seeing none of that goofy ass bullshit coonery that he has to offer for a while.
I used to have one hoe, I got a lot now. Fuck a pistol, we rocking out with the chops now.
And let me just tell y'all, by the way, Uzi Marcus, he do got dope music, you know what I mean? So check it out. He can't spit for a little nigga. I just don't like all the this and the dead and all that shit. But you know, he do have good music. So y'all can check him out.
DA the spot back to the block now. Pussy nigga keep talking till he get shot now. I used to have one hoe, I got a lot now. Fuck a pistol, we rocking out with the shots now.
Let you guys know what you think in the comments. Because, in my opinion, I can never call somebody a baby killer if I don't know if they killed a baby. What the fuck kind of accusation is that? And if you guys hate him for the situation that happened with him and his op, I explained on Patreon a little bit deeper, but you guys can't hate him for that. You guys can not like him or have an opinion, but I see the leverage that everyone uses as the baby killer as an excuse for taking you guys' anger out because that situation that happened with him and Tricky. You know, I'm not gonna say his name. I kind of look at it like the Quando, Rondo, Little Tim, and King Von situation. It's all favoritism. But hey, the facts are here. Uzi Marcus has never snitched or anything crazy on his name. The only thing is that he switched from Norte to Zilla. And that's some shit that obviously got handled internally within his own hood. Otherwise, he'd be dead. Also, I have my reasons to think that he has a body or two. And the CML affiliates can act crazy all they fucking want. But they know fucking well, if they see him, they know what time it is. Just like Mava, just like K-Squeeze, just like anybody else that's with the shit. He will turn you into a pack. Now, like I said before, and don't get me twisted, I'm not justifying none of this shit. I ain't with none of this fucking coonery. I'm just justifying his gangster. And all that shooting and all that shit, man, you guys know how I feel about that shit, so I shouldn't have to explain myself, you know? So, SGA, I love y'all, I'm out.
Definitely. Rest in peace to all the victims. This Sacramento Gang Archives, Uzi Marcus Part 2, reaction. Shout out to SGA, man. The video is always lit. I fuck with him heavy. Make sure y'all subscribe. Let me see who up in the chat. Anybody saying some shit? Shout out to Eastside Jeffrey Manning. Shout out to Flex on him. I see you. Shout out to everybody else watching. Yeah, man, we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna watch something else. Let's see. I'm gonna after we watch 1 or 2 more videos, I'm gonna drop the link. Anybody wanna hop on, talk some shit before I head up. Before I end this live. But we'll watch one more. This is what I do all day. I like watching these videos. You feel me? All right, my bad. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate the Cash App. For future reference, everybody that's in the Cash App, if you want to shout out, send the Cash App, hit me in the comment, let me know, or you can put it on the Cash App comment. Let me know who you are, what you want me to shout out. You know, I'll start doing that, you know. If you want to get shouted out, you know, that's all depend on y'all. But it is much appreciated. Everybody like, share, subscribe, help this channel grow. Make sure keep y'all entertained, man, because all this shit is entertainment. Music, entertainment, these stories, entertainment, you know. The real life situation happens off this entertainment, you know. Everybody just need to be safe out there, man. Watch what you say, you know, watch what you say, man. Don't disrespect the dead, you know, respect everybody, man. And shit, a lot of y'all niggas need to humble yourselves. Y'all niggas be getting wild out here. Let me see what we on. Yeah, I'm you know, I'm gonna come out here. I'll say some positive shit, but you know, I'm not trying to preach. You know what I'm saying? You know, young niggas ain't gonna listen to you if you preaching. So you know, while we talk about the bullshit, we throw in a couple of jewels. You know, hopefully anybody, you know, a thinking person would pick up on that and do better, man. Niggas need to do better. Let's see. See what you talking about. Oh yeah. You gotta sign in for this one. Fuck. All right. SGA the truth. I see what you're talking about. This is why SGA the truth. All right. Damn. Yeah, sign in this one too. All right. Let's see. This one too. All the good videos you gotta sign in. Next time I'll probably do that. But, let's see.
What's going on YouTube? Sacramento Gang Archives here, and today we're here to talk about
just why Mexican rappers keep dying.
How it seems like all Mexican rappers from Sacramento end up dying.
Told you, they politics real. They niggas better stop playing with the Mexicans.
I'm the type to give a bad bitch a fake number. You ain't make her pay for that pipe, you a fake plumber.
Now, I have a serious question. Who in the hell got inspired by this trash-ass, corny-ass cipher?
Real.
It seems like every single artist on Sizzler that I've ever seen has been striving and slaving and working their ass off to get famous. But out of all the people I've ever seen on Sizzler, really, nobody has ever blown up off Sizzler. Sizzler is a fucking sweatshop.
Big 50, nigga. It's a pole tussle. We're not the stinks, but my little nigga pole
And
buster.
you guys can do all these 2001 Hype Williams skits all y'all want. But in all reality, I don't see it. And it has to choose you. You can't just wake up and be like, I'm going to be fucking famous one day. Especially off of rap. It just doesn't happen like that. No, this isn't a Sizzler hate video. Because I have no problem with Sizzler. I'm just letting you guys know that those old school days of Sizzler being Northern Cali's world star hip hop is fucking over.
Do you think I'm pussy because I'm white, bro? You really are stupid.
Well, if you didn't know by now, Sizzler has a actual rap group with the NorCal Nortes called Red Alert. And the artists consist of GB, Asito, Young Iggs, Rico Too Smooth, and Babyface Wood. Now, I don't know who the fuck any of these inspiring rappers are. The only one, of course, is Rico Too Smooth. Now, mind you, he is a Norte from West Sacramento, and that is called the Broderick Boys. That's his gang. Now, if you notice, one thing that Mexican rappers have is a huge audience, and their people love their artists, and they support like with the fucking fullest. That's why Mexican artists always blow up in Sacramento if they gangbang. Now, Rico Too Smooth, since he kind of looks black and he has a B on his face, everyone thought that he was perpetrating because they thought the B stood for blood, but in fact it stands for Broderick. He is loyal to his soil. And guys, that kind of makes me think.
That nigga dead up in his cell. Holy tripping, they been on me. I can't even get no bail. They know I've been around some demons who been known for raising hell.
Parky got me in my mode, I'm tryna fuck it up.
They call me so in jail, this nigga kill me, I don't give a fuck.
When I slide, it ain't small, but it's true. Get it, hand me, they don't let me, yeah, it's true.
With that down fucking woods in the booth, I've been thugging to the neck.
Now, with Mr. Tricky to add to the list, and no disrespect to him at all. Obviously, I can't say his name, add no pictures or videos because Big Bird, aka Mac Jizzle. But if you guys pay attention to who I posted Jody Woe, Hot Boy Jew, Lil TYS, Top Rank JoJo, and of course, Mr. Tricky. All of these are Mexican rappers that in recent times have came out of Sacramento, and they all passed away. Every single one except for who? Ladies and gentlemen.
Do my dance like I'm Sada, baby. I ride my pole up in this party, so don't try to blame me.
If you guys really pay attention, yes, in these ciphers and all this shit business, Rico Too Smooth was around the quote-unquote black crowd. But he, out of all the Mexican rappers that I named in this video, he is the only one that stayed Norte down to the gristle. The only one who did not integrate his politics with the black politics. You guys see what I'm saying?
That's why he's still
Jody Woe did
alive.
not integrate the politics. But he did, in a sense, abandon his Norte roots, which was his family in Oak Park. He abandoned that for the Del Paso Heights politics. Top Rank JoJo got killed by a Mexican, and his music speaks for himself. He was integrating the two sides. Top Rank JoJo was from Gardens, and the Mexicans say Gardones, Garden Block. They don't call that Iraq. The Mexicans leave that to CML and his crew and all that shit. They are loyal to their soil. They don't give a fuck about a fucking Iraq in Southside Iraq. Now, obviously, the Nortes from other sides salute CML and them. I'm not saying it's a beef. I'm just saying they are strictly focused on Norte politics.
Surgery trying to take his face off me now when they question and I can't talk. How you turn into a rat? I thought you said you never tell. Hold him up.
We gon' leave that nigga dead up in his cell.
Little TYS was throwing up Hell Gang Killer in this video right here, and I don't see a fucking CML member in sight. And I honestly feel like Lil TYS, and I said this in my video I made on him, I feel like he was a slick motherfucker, because in my opinion, he was using the CML politics for leverage to blow. But my point is, Lil TYS was Hell Gang K like a motherfucker. But the thing is, he integrated the politics and got killed. Now, Hot Boy Jew, I don't think that he integrated the politics, but him and Jody Woe have the same type of case. They both abandoned their Norte politics for the glitz and glamour of the CML coons. Isn't it ironic that Rico Too Smooth is the only one alive and the only one who did not integrate the politics, and it's crazy and ironic that he's still alive in a Norte rap group? Now, I know I don't have to mention Mr. Tricky, because his whole movement, the Pinky Down thing, he was beefing with a whole entire Mexican gang. So, yeah, that speaks for itself. Now, this was just a quick video I put together because it's something that I noticed. Now, I'm not Sherlock Holmes, nor am I a fucking rocket scientist. I cannot put together the relation between why they die, but you guys can't ignore coincidences. Just pay attention to small stuff. SGA, I'm out.
Shout out to Sacramento Gang Archives. Why do Mexican rappers keep dying? That's a pretty good topic. Hold on, let me stop sharing the screen right quick. Yeah, shout out to the chat, man. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. This made Media Live. I'm your host, Big D. But yeah, my bad. So yeah, shout out to the chat. That was Sacramento Gang Archives. We were just checking out a couple of videos. The topic was the Mickey Cobra video. We watched that already. That was from Swamp Stories. We watched 2 Swamp Stories and we watched 2 Sacramento Gang Archives. We're an hour, 24 minutes in. Appreciate everybody tapped in with your boy. You know, this made media live, nigga. Yeah, so what's up, man? What's up with the chat, man? What's up? How y'all living? What's good? Y'all heard about the old boy that's been going around sniping everybody, doing all them killings, man. All these mass shootings and everything. It should be crazy. You gotta watch everybody. You gotta be careful where you go, all type of shit, man. Yeah. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. Let's see. My bad. Let me see. Yeah, I'll be hopping on this live, man. Y'all make sure y'all share these lives. You feel me? Share, hit that like button. The more y'all hit the like button, the more people could get recommended and see this video. You know, I'll be laid back, man. I don't be doing too much, you know, talk my shit, you know. But yeah, appreciate everybody viewing. Make sure we get this motherfucker around, man. Made Media Live. I'm out.